Today on the French Formula, I have brought Chef Greg from CheeseLoverShop. He's gonna run through the different type of cheese we can find, how it's made, and at the end, together, we are going to make a cheese platter. A great way to impress friends and family when they come over and have a good time. Ready? Hi, Chef Greg. Welcome to the French Formula. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm really happy to have you. Can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Okay. My name's Greg Gable. I am the research and development chef here at Savencia Cheese in New Holland, Pennsylvania. And we are the Cheese Lover Shop, where you know us from. That is a part of Savencia, and that's distributed here in New Holland. We import and distribute all the Savencia products here in New Holland. I'm a certified cheese professional through the American Cheese Society, and I do the videos and the any virtual wine and cheese tastings for CheeseLoverShop. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome, that's a lot of cheese. So before we dive into the world of cheese, that is definitely your world, how is your French?
My culinary French is good. My cheese French is good. My general French, not as well as I'd like it.
Okay, it's all good. We are gonna be learning something new today, right? Especially you. So we are going to be diving into our subject. What is cheese? How it's made?
Simply, cheese is sour milk. It was discovered quite by accident thousands of years ago when milk was stored in the stomach of a calf, and after a day they went to get their drink of milk and they discovered, oh, we have cheese, and that's basically how it started.
Well, interesting. So speaking of carrying milk around, what are your thoughts on pasteurization? Because you know, like in France, we still have kind of cheese that are not pasteurized. We call it raw cheese, right? That I think at least are very tasty. Does the taste is very different?
I think it's definitely a characteristic of the cheese. At Savencia, all our cheeses are pasteurized milk cheeses. But raw cheeses afford you the taste what the animal actually eats and the terroir of where the animal is living. And that gives the characteristics to the cheese. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. It's definitely seasonable. But all our cheeses, again, are from pasteurized milk at Savencia.
Interesting. So what is your preference? What is the milk that you prefer?
I think generally I like a lot of the cow's milk cheeses with provolone. Some of the cheddars I really enjoy. I love those textures. I grew up in an area, we do have some goats, and I've been exposed to goat milk and goat milk cheeses, so I like them. And the sheep's, there are some excellent cheeses made with sheep's milk that I enjoy, so I really like them all.
Oh, okay. Me, my preference is actually the blue cheese, the one with a little mold on it. But like, for example, I think my favorite is Saint-Agur, and we are going to see it later on when we do our cheese platter together, but I'm really for the blue cheese. So you mentioned that there is different animals, so which animal can produce milk and what is the process?
The animals that produce milk in the United States are cow, goat, and sheep. And protein and fat-wise, cow and goat are very similar. Sheep actually has almost twice the protein and twice the fat, but then not near as much volume as a goat or a cow. There's also buffalo, which is quite popular in the buffalo mozzarella, and there's even camel milk cheeses in the Middle East.
Okay, and so what is the process, the different step to actually have a cheese?
The first part is, of course, gather the milk. The second is add a culture, and a culture is what determines what type of cheese you will be making. Here at Savencia, all our cultures are librated in Savencia, so that's how we make our cheeses a little different than everybody else's. The next step will begin the acidification, and that means the pH level lowers, meaning the acidity level rises because the cultures produce lactic bacteria. And once we reach our pH, they will add rennet, which is a coagulant, like we mentioned earlier. When cheese was discovered by accident, it was the rennet in the calf's stomach that coagulated the cheese. The next step then will be cutting the curds, and that will be specific to the type of cheese. The more the cheese are cut, the drier the cheese will be. And the second will be molding or putting the curd into the forms, which will again drain more whey. When it gets to the desired moisture content, we will salt the cheese, and that will slow down the curing process and add salt. You need salt in cheese. It's an ingredient that you need in the cheese. And then after that, we will ripen them, and that could be soft ripened cheeses all together. Blue cheeses will be aged all together, and some cheeses are aged for longer, some cheeses shorter. And that determines, again, the type of cheese you will have in the end.
Right, because I know some places in France that still age in cave, right? So how it's done today?
So there are still many places that age cheese in caves. Mm-hmm. Specifically, Roquefort. Mm-hmm. You have a Roquefort cheese. You have to be aged 3 months in Roquefort, and that will produce the blue mold in the cheeses. Also, the culture can you can put blue molds in the culture when you are making the cheese. But typically, the blue mold comes from the environment, which happens to be a cave.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a whole chemistry thing. Right, a beautiful science. So what characteristic we should look at when we want to look for a cheese, like we want to choose a good cheese?
Well, first, be familiar with the milk you'd like. Of course, we said there's cow, goat, and sheep. And then there's 6 types of cheeses, and I have some examples here. So our first cheese will be fresh cheeses. Then we have our soft ripened cheeses. The next type of cheese we have is a wash rind. Then we have our semi-hard cheeses. As for a hard cheese, we have Parmesan. That's a hard cheese. And then blue cheese, of course, a blue vein cheese. Those are our 6 types of cheese. So as far as choosing, I choose them all. But when you're making a plate, you want to have a good variety.
And there is like let's say I want to be healthy, but I still want to eat cheese. Like, can I look like if they all have the same fat content, or there is a difference?
No, cheeses are categorized into 3 different fat levels. We have single cream, which is 50% fat. That doesn't mean that the whole cheese has 50% fat. It's 50% from the dry matter. Then we have a double cream, which is 65% fat. And then a triple cream with a 75% fat. So with real cheese, you're not going to get away from any fat. It's just to be healthy, you have to limit the amount you eat.
So before we go to the cheese platter, let's go to 2 questions that I received on social media that I have for Greg. So the question was asked in French. I'm gonna ask it in French to see if Greg understands, and if he doesn't, I'm going to translate for him. You ready, Greg?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Est-ce qu'il est vrai qu'il y a 360 sortes de fromage en France? This is a question from Yasmin. She asked, est-ce qu'il est vrai qu'il y a 360 sortes de fromage en France?
I think you're referring to how can I govern a country which has more than 350 cheeses from Charles de Gaulle.
Right.
And it's true, there's probably many, many more than 350 cheeses in France.
That's pretty amazing. How can we explain that there is so many sort of cheese in France?
Well, cheese is very regional, so a brie, a soft ripened or a brie cheese made in the east of France to the west of France will be different. The climate will be different, and it will produce different cheeses.
Right. Okay. So I have a second question for Greg in French again. Let's see if he gets it. Y a-t-il un fromage que tu n'aimes pas? Greg, est-ce qu'il y a un fromage que tu n'aimes pas?
I enjoy all the cheeses, so I really don't have a least favorite. It probably would be processed cheese now that I work for a cheese company that makes such high quality cheeses. So I'll say processed cheese.
Absolutely. And we are going to discover some of the cheese that you carry in your brand. So I'm just really happy, excited to go to this last and exciting section of our video. And now it's the time that we have been waiting for. We are going to follow Chef Greg's instruction to make our own cheese board. So, Chef, I'm following your instruction. Let's do it together.
Right, so you'll build your board, I'll build my board together. I like to start with the escargot, the harder cheeses. So I will cut the wheel in half. I like to place a piece on the board and slice. To make it easier for people to access, we'll shingle that like that on the board. The reason we started with the harder cheese is that will be the easiest to cut and the easiest to place. Next, we'll place our chèvre. Just lift your pyramid. There you go. Put him near the center, off to the side. And of course, it's left up to your imagination. Next, I'd like to put the Saint-André. Saint-André is a triple creme cheese made in Normandy, France, from cow's milk. I like to cut the wheel in half. It's on the board. And cut in sections. On top, the next cheese, we'll do our Ile-de-France Brie. I cut that wheel in half. I like to show the whole wheels and also cut some triangle wedges. Shingle on the board. And last but not least, we'll place our Saint-Agur. This is double cream blue cheese, which makes it very, very smooth. And again, that's a double cream blue cheese, which is unique to Saint-Agur. And that will just place on the board. Now that we have our cheeses on the board, we can begin garnishing. We begin with some dried fruit. In this case, I have craisins, some dried apricots, or some nuts. These are mixed. I also have some smokehouse almonds I like to put with the blue cheeses. We can add some olives. Grapes. Some fresh berries. Strawberry, blueberry, raspberry. I have some blackberries here. And then some other accompaniments. I have prosciutto and saucisson. Since I have a vegetarian daughter, I typically do not put those on the cheese board. And then of course, some standard honey always goes well. The blue cheese. Jams. We have a fig jam and a raspberry jalapeno jam we offer on CheeseLoverShop. Just leave those in the jars.
Chef Greg, can you talk about the jam for a second that you have at CheeseLoverShop?
We have a fig jam and a sour cherry jam that we offer from Divana. And we also have a brand of Janet's Finest, which they do a cranberry jalapeno jam and a raspberry jalapeno jam. And the spiciness is awesome with the blue cheeses, particularly the double cream Saint-Agur. And of course, last but not least, we would have some crackers. They act as palate cleansers. And what would a cheese board be without a fresh baguette?
Absolutely right, because I was like, hold on, I'm French. I'm not really into crackers. I'm really into bread. There you go. So, Chef Greg, when people want to buy cheese, how they find you?
So we go to our website, CheeseLoverShop.com. Place your order. We have many different kits, different gift baskets. We provide, I think there's almost 40 cheeses. Most are Savencia products, and either imported or produced here in the United States. And we ship it out next day.
I can testify that you ship it for me and the next day it was here, all fresh, so it was awesome. Thank you so much. And how people can find you on social media?
So we have a Cheese Lover Shop on Facebook and on Instagram.
And I think you are the expert also too. You're the expert when you make some videos. I think when special occasion, like if there is like any video like for, I don't know, like the Christmas or Valentine's, or you can give specific instruction.
There are videos in the chef blog on CheeseLoverShop.com. We're also now offering virtual tastings with Chef Greg. So we get 6 guests, they'll pick their cheese, we'll pick some wine, and then we'll schedule a time to have a virtual tasting.
That's awesome. So of course I'm going to put all the information below our video so people are interested to check you out and definitely have order some cheese, get some information from you, know more about cheese, they can contact you. So thank you so much, Chef Greg, for your time and all your beautiful knowledge. You definitely know more than me, even though I'm French, so you're the expert. And I'll see you very soon.
Thank you very much. Enjoy their day.
À bientôt.
Bye-bye.